It's OKO of Twisted Frog Racing. I am here with Craig Fleek and my dad Jeremy. Hey Craig, congratulations on making it to King of the Streets 2021. You were not planning on racing the event and ended up having some great rounds. Can you tell us about that experience and how you got to KOTS?
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't intend to actually race at KOTS. I had signed up to be a spectator there, and at the time I was building my DR10 just for fun, and really didn't think it would be ready, so I didn't sign up. And then I met with the Maclan team down in San Diego, made some test hits, and thought that the car actually did fairly well. So I thought, maybe I should have signed up. So then they reopened up the list, and I thought, well, I'll throw my name on it and see what happens. And sure enough, I made the list. Thankfully, I already had the hotel reserved. I had the travel reserved, so I packed everything up. The funny part to that is that I got in late Friday night because, again, I was going as a spectator. I wasn't planning to race. So I had very little practice time in the car, almost none at all, really, before heading down there.
To set the record straight, what chassis and electronics did you run?
Well, like I said, it's a Team Associated DR10. I've got some custom parts on there from Sagan Manufacturing, and also some drag race concept parts on there. Of course, we all know the most important parts on there are the electronics, and that's all Maclan DRK for the ESC. I'm running the Maclan 4.5 turn motor, and then, of course, a Maclan battery in there as well.
What shocks?
That's a funny question. The shocks, I wasn't happy with the ones that came with the DR10 kit. I didn't think that they had a lot of tuning ability on them. So probably a week or 2 weeks before the race, I borrowed the shocks off of my Associated B62, and that's actually still what's on the car right now. They work great, and they gave me a lot of additional tuning capabilities. So I think I'm going to have to replace the shocks on my B62 for this coming season.
Front shock oil weight?
I believe it went with a 600 on both the front and the rear shocks there. I had put that in probably 2 months ago, and I left it. So that's what we went with.
Diff fluid weight?
The diff fluid, you'd be surprised to know that I was running a 7,000 weight oil in the back, just kind of assuming that the surface might be a little bumpy, and I left it. I went with it. And other than the car, pulling to the left a little bit at launch, I think it did really well with that weight oil in there.
I have seen your gorgeous car. What do you use for anodizing?
Oh, the anodizing. Yeah, again, remember, I never planned to be a King of the Streets. So in a way, I almost built this as a show car just to have fun with. And so I contacted Travis over at Bateman's Custom Coatings. And he has now done 2 cars for me. And, nothing against the Associated blue, but the green, because my racing colors are the black and green, just looks absolutely amazing. So a big shout out to Travis over at Bateman's.
Your car is pretty heavy. How much does it weigh?
Yeah, that was kind of a surprise. The minimum weight for King of the Streets was 1,900 grams. Mine came in at over 2,400. So it was almost comical for me. Everybody else in front of me, as we were going through tech, they would have to actually put their body on the car to reach minimum weight. whereas I could put mine on the scale without the body and it was way over.
Mhm. Do you think that the weight may have helped you in any way?
You know, it might have, especially when the wind picked up. I've got no proof of that, but I'm going to go with it.
Mhm. I have a DR10 that I am building. Any tips or tricks that you can share with me?
Well, we were just talking about weight, and I think that's one area that you could spend extra time with the weight management,
Mhm.
trying to get all of your weight centralized. If you get too much weight off to one side or the other, you're going to end up with the car shifting to one side or the other. So
Mhm.
if you can get that weight centralized, that's going to help you go straight when you're taking off.
Mhm. Tell us about who painted your car.
The paint. That was my good buddy Jack Legan. I sent him over the Proline Plymouth body, Plymouth Barracuda, and he did some amazing paint work on there with a shifting green color. You can kind of see it in the background there.
Mhm.
Depending on how the light hits the green, the tone of the green changes a little bit. He painted the back of the car, so all the lights are painted. The front is all painted. The grill's painted. And then in the black stripes, there's actually some metallic in there that, again, when it's in the sun, will reflect and looks absolutely amazing. He's
Mhm.
done several cars for me, and I don't see myself changing anytime soon.
What were the track conditions like after the third round? That's when things looked to get really interesting.
You know, they really did. That third round, uh, I noticed about half track that the car really started to get loose, and I lost quite a bit of control. It was starting to get a little bit darker around that time. The wind picked up. Um, so, really, because of how cold it was, I didn't make any changes to the car. And I really should have going into that fourth round. I know exactly where I should have changed it, but because of how cold it was, I probably had brain freeze and chose not to make the change. And I think that's what took me out of the fourth round. But yeah, very cold. The track got very loose starting around that third round.
Did you play it safe or did you let the big dog eat?
I had some great help from Colin Branch and the rest of the Maclan team.
Mhm.
We had a fairly safe tune in the car. But yeah, for the most part, when I got up there, the light went green. I hit full throttle and let her go. Never pedaled it. Just tried to drive it as straight as I could.
Mhm. Did you did you have any good luck charms or superstitions?
No, I don't really have any good luck charms, but I do believe in repetition. So going through the same procedures that you do round after round to make sure that you're not forgetting any steps. Um, once you get past first round, at least in my case, and you surprise yourself, then having these steps that you've done over and over again, they almost become habit. And, in fact, my very first round, I got up through tech and I could barely get the body pins back on the car. So I was almost late for my first round. And so just by going through these steps over and over again, being very comfortable with the car, and if you think back to how I opened up, I didn't get a lot of practice. And so this being the largest race ever, I was nervous and I was having trouble getting the body pins in. But we made it through like we always do. The person I was racing with was great. Nobody complained that I was taking a little long. So, but yeah, no good luck charms. Just keeping up with the procedures and try to make things habit for me.
Do you have a checklist?
I did not have a checklist. That's something I may want to do in the future.
Mhm. Are you going to Super Chip?
Going where?
To Super Chip.
Super Chip.
It's the next big race in Oklahoma.
I have not heard about that race yet. I guess I'm behind the times. Probably not.
Okay.
That would be a little bit of a haul for me up here in Washington.
What advice do you have for anyone that plans to race at KOTS next year?
Well, be prepared for the weather. That was my biggest surprise, was how cold it got, to the point your hands were just absolutely shaking. And so trying to be up there at the line and drive that car straight when your hands are shaking, that was probably, that and the track going away was the biggest challenge that I had, was not being prepared correctly for the weather. So that is something that for next year, we definitely won't make that mistake again.
Mm-hmm. It seems like many people are concerned about big money RC racing. What are your thoughts?
Well, I believe that if it helps grow the sport, then I'm all for it. But at the same time, to get big money in an event, you're going to have to increase the number of participants. So as long as the event can still run smoothly, I'm just in it for the fun. So I'm all for it. Just keep growing the sport so that we can have more events like this. They're a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about your plans for the summer? What are your plans for racing?
Yeah, most of my summer is going to be spent over at Die Hard Outdoor, and I'll be racing my 10th scale B62 buggy on the turf there. I'll be racing a stadium truck in their mod division. And just a little bit of a teaser, I'll also be testing a new drag chassis by Saganmfg. So I'll be sponsored by that team this year for 2021. Hope to do really well. Can't wait to get a hold of the chassis, see what it can do. And I may do some 8th scale racing. Haven't quite decided on that yet. I think it depends on how much time the 10th scale and the no prep takes up.
Mm-hmm. Craig, thank you so much for taking your time today to talk with us. Today's interview was brought to you by Maclan Racing. To all those listening, please like my Facebook page, Twisted Frog Racing, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Twisted Frog.
Thank you, OKO. I greatly appreciate your time, and it's an honor to be among all the others that you've interviewed.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Bye.